Hello and welcome to Morning Jumpstart. I am Jade Trubler, Director of Training at AWAI, and I'm joined by our Chief Success Officer, Ted Capshaw. Hi, Ted.
Good morning, Jade. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I selfishly love these because I get fulfilled listening to you and doing these with you. I know that we want to tackle the theme of self-discovery this month. So with that in mind, what is step number one if somebody wants to go on that journey?
Big theme, right? Self-discovery.
Huge.
Well, I think it all starts here, really, and I'd say where does it start, which is a simple question, but a pretty deep and complex question, which is who are you? A question that I don't think many people think about often. I often refer to this exercise that I do in group trainings that I do. And I do a penny exercise where I ask people to write down, if people see this and I do it with them, they're going to know what's coming. But I'll ask them to draw a penny. And I will tell you without fail, 95% of a room of 50 or 100 people can't draw a penny. And yet they've been touching pennies their entire life, right? But they've never taken the time. And what I use that as an analogy, I want you to think about, could you describe yourself in full? Or have you treated yourself like a penny? Have you valued yourself like you do a penny, kind of just press it to the side? You might not do that to a quarter, right? And so I just think that it's a deep question that we have to start to think about, because it weighs into how we operate within our businesses. It weighs into how we operate within our family structures, in society, in our neighborhoods and everything. But I'm not sure people have slowed down enough to really think about that big old question. It seems simple. And if you ask people like, who are you? What's the typical answer that you get?
They're going to tell you what they do and not who they are, right?
They're going to tell you what they do. And what I believe, I talked about this self-reflection piece as far as making goals a couple, jump starts ago. But I think this question requires you to go back and start to connect the dots of your life. And this is what I mean by that. Like when I say, who are you? Do you really reflect back on the journey and realize that certain experiences or time frames in life have actually manifested themselves into who you are today? The self-exploration really comes from, wow, that part really affected me and that's manifested itself. I'm actually my operating rhythm, or the way that I live my life, or the way that I think, is it serving me well? Or is it not serving me so well? Or have I just blindly kind of just settled into where I am, no matter what phase you are? I often say, like, if you're 35 or 55, all of a sudden you're just here.
We're pilots.
We're just, yeah. And so this idea of who are you? I want you to start to think about that this week, because what you will find is that certain things affected you in ways. Jade, you and I have had conversations because you know me intimately, right? And I have done a ton of self-reflection, and it's the only reason that I'm in the space that I am, both in my work and in my life. But when I reflect back on my upbringing, or when I reflect back at time frames during high school and some of the transitions, or when I reflect back to being transracially adopted, what I realized is that so much of my living of life was I was on the defense, trying to prove something to somebody almost at all times, right? Well, that wasn't serving me well. But if I had not connected the dots, because by the way, I was having relative success in my life, right?
Yeah.
But again, who am I? Self-described insecure. It's true. People that knew me 15, 20 years ago may have some things to say about me because of that. But when I learned how to manage the insecurity and then manifest it in a different way, then all of a sudden magic started to happen in my life. Wow. So again, it's a deep question that I'm asking you. It's a simple question, who are you? But I don't want you to give the simple answer. I want you to go do some exploration this week. And I want you to start asking it. An easy way for you to frame it up: in order to know you, I need to know what? And that's a big question.
Right? Without mentioning roles, like mom, dad, none of that.
No roles, no nothing. Like, again, like I often say, and I pose it to you real quickly for you to give it a quick answer, but I'd say, like, if you don't know about my adoption, if you don't know about losing my father, if you don't know about my conception to a certain degree and how that played into my adulthood, if you don't know my two sons and my wife, like, these are certain things. Like, if you don't know these things about me, and context around them, you simply don't know who I am. You don't. So like if I said that to you, top of mind, what would be something that comes to mind?
I would say, like, if you want to know me and know who I am, you would have to know that I will do anything to strive and to get to my goals and create a beautiful life and not settle for the status quo. Like, that's not where I live, and that's where I live unhappy. And if I am unhappy, that's probably where I'm at. And so I need to rise up, right? And to know me, you need to know that, because there's some difficulties.
Well, here's the thing. Well,
right?
here's the thing, and we're going to use you as the example as we come to this, as it come to a close. My next level question to you would be, but why is that about you? Do you see where I am? Like, this is why I say it's a simple question, but there's layers to it. Like, I understand now that you will rise up to reach your goals, but I want to know why. Why did that all of a sudden become who you are? Why is that important to you to do? And through self-discovery, you will start to learn that there's reasons why that will be motivators, but there's also reasons why that don't serve you well, and sometimes ruin relationships or potential
100%.
Prospects or whatever.
Yeah.
You see where
it's so funny. It reminded me of the story, like and I hope this doesn't really have to do with it, but it has to do with it. When I first came to the United States, for like 2 years, I wouldn't drive a car here because they're all automatic. And my mom had always told me that an automatic car is harder to drive than a stick shift that I grew up with. Like, how insane is that, right? But I didn't stop to think or question it. And I just believed it. So I was on the autopilot of that belief, right? Until I questioned it and I actually tried it and I challenged it. I'm like, this is the easiest thing in the world. Like, what? Yeah.
Think about that. So we have defined our ways. We could keep on riffing, but I know we're.
Yeah.
In order to know you, this is your jump start of the week. In order to know you, I need to know what. And then think about what I just did with Jade there quickly. Ask the next layer of questions of yourselves.
Love it. See everyone next week.
All right.